Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another video on Melodic channel, and today I'm gonna talk to you about 10 albums that I pick, in 10 different subgenres. So this is one genre, one album, episode number 2.
We see the sunrise, you and I, to the end of our days. Steady, we are alive and well, and we're waiting under a million moons, under a million moons.
So, in my first category I chose for this video is progressive metal, and in progressive metal for this episode I selected for you an album called Winter at the Reel from the formation Arch Matheos. So Arch Matheos is an American progressive metal band they are from Los Angeles, in California. It's composed of Mr. Jim Matheos at the guitar and John Arch at the vocals. So these two guys are also part of the formation of progressive metal called Fates Warning. For those who know Fates Warning, obviously you know this is we are talking about some progressive metal as well. So this album Winter at the Reel released back in 2019 and was the second album from this formation. And yeah, this album is pure progressive metal. It's really great melodies, great riffs, and the vocals are so wonderful on this album. If you like progressive metal, this is one piece that I definitely recommend. Moving on, next in line, clearly for you now, is melodic death metal. And for melodic death metal, I could choose a lot of bands, but this time I decided to choose a band called Dark Tranquillity here with their 11th album, Atoma, that was released back in 2016. I love basically all their discography, I love this genre. I love bands such as Insomnium, and Dark Tranquillity is definitely one of my favorites, and one of my favorite, if not the favorite album for me, to my eyes, of their discography is this one, Atoma, released back in 2016. So you have a mix of growling vocals and a mix of clean vocals, but yeah, it's what I like, definitely, moving from one voice to another, especially when it's coming from the same guy. I love this music, it's very melodic, and yeah, I could listen to it, basically all day long. All the album is just a pure gem. So this is my selection for this video about in the category of melodic death metal. Next up, third category presented in this video. Now I'm choosing death doom genre, which is one obviously of my favorite. If you start to know my taste, is you know that melodic, death doom metal is one of my favorites. In the last episode, I mentioned the American band Temple of Void, obviously, which is one of my favorite bands in this genre, if not my favorite band. And in this video, I choose for you another band, and this time they come from Finland. They're called Who Did Menace. Who Did Menace are just, great in this category. It's one of the best, one of the most famous as well. They released so far 5 albums, including the latest one, which is my selection for this video. The latest one released back in 2018 with the name of Ossuarium Silhouettes Unhallowed. This is great death doom. Only looking at the cover of the album, the artwork of the album, you just want, to discover what's in there, and it's just a pure trip. It's great. It's really pure death doom metal as I like, and for me it's their best album. Basically it's the same. All their 5 albums so far are great, but if I had to pick one, it's definitely that one I would pick, And good news, if you are a fan of them, they are gonna release a 6th LP this year. And the name of the album, I can already tell you, the name of the album will be Tritonus? Jesus, I'm getting old, I'm just, I can't really see when when it's so far. Yeah, it's the Tritonus Bell, and it's gonna release this year in 2021. Don't know yet when, but I think it's gonna be, there are high chances that it's gonna be within the next month. So this is my selection for death doom metal. Who Did Menace? So it's a band of death doom from Finland. Next up, stoner doom metal, and of course in this category I had to mention at one point the band Electric Wizard. So they are British, and this album is the album Dope Throne that was released back in the year 2000. So I think it has been re-released a couple of years ago, but this is their 3rd album, and basically all their discography is amazing as well. But if I need to pick one, it's that one, the album of the year 2000, Dope Throne. This was a clip of one of the best tracks on the album, Funeral Police. This is a great track. So if you like stoner doom, I recommend Electric Wizard with the album Dope Throne. Thrash metal, and this band I choose in category thrash metal for this video is a band called Power Trip. They are from Texas, and I choose for you their 2nd album, Nightmare Logic, that released back in 2017. I'm not really a big fan of thrash metal in general, but this album to tell you that this album is great. I even own the vinyl, even if thrash metal is not one of my favorite genres, because you have so many genres and you have so many choice and variety in heavy metal that you can't love everything on the same scale. But even if thrash metal is not my favorite one, I love Power Trip. I love this album. So it's the album Nightmare Logic, released in 2017. Next up, some black metal, and in the category black metal, I selected for you a band from Slovakia called Malokarpatan with their third album, Krupinske One, released back in 2020. This album is their third album. They produce some black metal mixed with kind of a traditional heavy metal from the 70s, maybe I would say, but you have definitely some black metal roots. And this album, Krupinske One, released back in 2020, so last year, and was my #1 black album of the year, and it's still to this day one of my favorites in this genre. Basically, Krupinske One means the fires of Krupinske. Krupinske being a city in Slovakia where you had some witches problems, let's say, in the 18th century. And basically on this album they talk about these witches that they had to burn because witches were doing some bad things to the population. And this album really caught me by surprise at that time, because at that time I was not really yet into black metal, and this is definitely one of the albums that made me love this genre, and I really, really recommend that you listen to that one if it's not done already. Demons and Wizards are my selection into power metal for this video. It's basically a formation of Ansi from Blind Guardian, formed this band with the guitarist of Iced Earth. I don't remember his name. All I know is that he had some issues this past year with the Trump thing, and he's been arrested. And Anzi, therefore, has decided to quit the formation. So they released the 3 albums. The latest one is that one, #3, released back in early 2020. It will be, therefore, their last album. Not it's their latest, but it's also, unfortunately, their last album. So we won't get a new album from this formation anymore. But yeah, power metal is not really as well my cup of tea, only maybe for working out. Maybe some power metal is really good, but that's it. But if I had to pick one album, this is great. This is this one, because I listened to it quite a lot of times, and this is an album that I recommend if you like power metal. Iapetus is a progressive death metal band from Long Island in New York, and they released in 2019 their second album called The Body Cosmic. And God, this is clearly, to me, one of the best pieces of progressive death metal I've ever heard. It's crazy. It's a long album. It's long tracks. You could say that they have Opeth influences, clearly, but yeah, their sound is just amazing. You have some really parts, violent parts, you know, really melodic parts. We could say that it's, we could classify that genre of pure melodic progressive death metal, I would say. But this album, the Body Cosmic, is just amazing. If you don't know it yet, honestly, guys, if you love progressive death metal, go rush on this album and you will tell me about it.
We chose to fight for a cause, honor, pride, dignity, and love. Through the passage of time, it became exposed, attempting to reclaim what was never ours. From the pebbles and into the rivers.
This time I'm talking about atmospheric black metal, and I have a lot of bands that I love in this specific genre, but here I wanted to mention the band Sojourner. They are actually an international band because people are coming from New Zealand, Sweden, different parts of the world, you know, but they clearly produce some epic atmospheric black metal, and they released so far 3 albums. The latest one was back in 2020, Premonitions. It was really good, but in this video I'm selecting their debut album released back in 2016 called Empires of Ash. The artwork of the album, already when you see the artwork, you know what you're dealing with, you know, and yeah, it's a great trip, it's great atmosphere, you know, and this one is clearly one of my favorites in this genre. Not least, my 10th selection for this video is Did you really believe it? That I was frozen? I was just playing with you. Traditional heavy metal, and I can't talk about traditional heavy metal without talking, obviously, of one of the pioneers for the genre, Iron fucking Maiden, with this fucking album, the debut album from 1980. Can you imagine that this album is already 42 years old? It's crazy. To me, it's my favorite. It's the Iron Maiden album I can play, you know, most of the time. I don't know. I just like the riffs on this album. It's pure, you know. It's really classical. Yeah, it's a classic album, you know. And yeah, I had to mention this one in my traditional heavy metal category if I wanted to talk about Iron fucking Maiden. So this is it. This was the second episode. So my second selection for one genre, one album. But you can imagine that I could make hundreds of episodes. So if this doesn't correspond to your own tastes, you know, don't be mad, because there will be next episodes, and maybe I'll be talking about your personal favorites by genre. This is it. So I hope you like this video. I hope you like this selection anyway. Feel free to put down in the comments down below what are your favorite album into these covered genres in this video, and we will talk about it offline. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like this kind of content. Don't forget to share, to like, obviously, super important as always. And I wish you a good day, good evening, good night, whatever. And I see you in a future video very, very soon. Ciao, ciao.